Hello, my e-bike safety family. That's what we'll do. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, it's been a while. I'm doing this again. This is like my second go through on this. I did a whole bunch of demonstrations on some practices you can do to get warmed up before a ride on turning and get more comfortable. And what happened is I inadvertently recorded the whole thing on time lapse. So I'm using my phone and I use my GoPro. I only have one GoPro and obviously one phone. So I was using those to record everything, and the phone I use as a stationary camera. The GoPro I've got mounted to a chest strap. And the GoPro I use as my primary microphone as well. I've got a microphone connected to it with a windsock on it, so you guys aren't getting all the wind while I'm riding. It is kind of breezy today. So if I talk loud, it's because I'm talking over the wind, and I'm trying not to do that. Because to me it's loud running through my ears, but it seems that this little sock on the camera is doing really good to keep that out of the recordings. So anyway, right now I'm on my way back to the site where I've been doing some of the training or some of the videos. I'm not going to call this so much training as more of a tip or examples. When I did dirt bike schools, as well as the road bikes and then ATV stuff, those were day-long courses, and you start from the very, very basics at the beginning of just getting to know your ride, whatever that was going to be, your dirt bike, your street bike, your ATV, just getting to know it. And simple stuff like, here's your brakes, here's the throttle, here's a clutch, all simple stuff. With the e-bike thing, you guys know how to ride a bike, you know how to get on a bike, and generally you know what the particular parts are on your bike. You know where your brakes are. You pretty much already have a feel for that. What you may not have a feel for is the type of brakes these bigger, heavier bikes have, which are generally disc brakes, and they could be mechanical or hydraulic. In my case, on the Rad Rover 6 Plus, it's a hydraulic disc brake. I just got a Rad Runner Plus, and that one has a cable mechanical disc brake. It's a little bit different. You have to try a little harder when you're using the brakes. But generally, you guys know what a bicycle is. You know what pretty much everything is. If you want more explanation, just post that in the comments. So if you'd like me to go over the bike more intricately, I can do that. But generally, these are tips. And what I want these to go out to are the people that are just getting back on bicycles, and in particular you're riding e-bikes. And I don't want you to be I don't know what you're doing there. I don't want you to be uncomfortable on the bike because you're getting on it and you're being surprised when you hit that throttle or you start pedaling and the bike starts surging away and it just feels too fast because you're not used to it. I want you guys to get comfortable. Part of being comfortable on the bike is also being in the right mindset when you start riding. And getting in that mindset means, let me just use an example for myself. If I just spent a day driving in the RV and we're heading to a camping spot, generally an RV park, something of that nature, and there's some bike trails I want to hit. I've spent the day driving, And now it's time to hook everything up. Now we're going into the next day. I get the bikes out and we're going to go for a bike ride. Well, just jumping on the bike and going may not be a great idea, in the fact that you may be thinking about all kinds of other stuff. You're on the bike, you're still not on the bike with your brain. So what I'm trying to do with these little tips is to get your brain in gear so that you're focused on the bike ride and you're not thinking of other things, because thinking of other things can get you in trouble, and you don't want to be there. You want to be prepared when you're on the bike. You want to take in the sights and all that kind of stuff. That's why you're on the bike. But you also, you want to be prepared. So get your brain in the I'm on my e-bike mindset, and you'll start thinking about your surroundings, and you'll start being aware of what's going on around you. Okay, I'm back. Got the cones all set up. Once again, this is something really easy. A good idea to start out before you go on your nice little trail ride or your daily ride. Whatever you're going to do, when you get on that bike, get the brain into bicycle mode, e-bike mode in particular, and get those other things that you want to get off your mind. Stupid flies. Get that other junk out of your mind and concentrate on your ride. Not just, being so stressed out on being safe, but getting your brain in gear that you're on a bike and you do need to pay attention to your surroundings and get that mind and body working together to control the bicycle. All right. So that's what this is a little bit. If we look out here, I've got the cones set up. This is some parking stalls, and like I said, you can do this on your own. If you've got a little parking lot that you can go to, you can do this without cones. Just kind of do this on your own, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing and how we go through this. But you can do this in front of your house, whatever. Generally, what we're trying to do is you're going to be doing some turns, nice and easy turns, and concentrating on the head and shoulders and keeping everything square and controlling your speed. All right. If you get too low a speed, remember we talked about it in the past videos, and if you haven't seen those yet, I recommend going back and looking at emergency starting and stopping and braking in turns and things like that, where I talk about kind of a minimal speed you want to be at to stabilize the bike. If you get it too low a speed, the bike becomes unstable, and that's when you start to get the wobbles. So you want to get up to about 4 miles an hour, between 3 to 5 miles an hour. At 5 miles an hour, the bike's pretty stable. And if you keep it right in there, things aren't going to be all herky-jerky for you. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this. Again, I've got the GoPro mounted, and I'll be switching back and forth from this footage between the phone and the GoPro when I do the editing, but primarily the microphone's on the GoPro. So first off, I've got the cones set up every other stall. Okay. So it's a nice wide turn. What we're going to do is we're just going to kind of zigzag through here and make some really nice, easy, wide turns. In this next segment, I'm going to tighten it up to where it's every stall is going to be coned off, and we're going to be doing turns tighter. And then the last segment, I'm going to do the cone pattern with the zigzagging, okay, between the cones. And you guys have all seen that. But I'll show you how that helps in just getting the mind and your body connected and getting you prepared for your ride. You've got your steering back in gear, your brain's back in focus on what you're going to be doing. And then that way you guys can get out on the ride, enjoy the scenery, but still your brain's in contact with the bike and you guys are working together. All right? So here we go. Go ahead and mount the bike, kickstand up, power is on, pedal in gear. Remember your starting gear. My sweet spot for starting is 3rd, 4th gear generally. And it just helps if you don't get the power when you first take off. You'll be really struggling. Like if I'm in 7th gear and I try to get the bike started, I'm 165 pounds and I'm standing on one pedal trying to get that thing to go. The bike's just heavy. It's a lot of weight to get going in such a high gear. So make sure when you're coming down and you're stopping your bike, get yourself down into a lower gear, one that's easier for you to pedal should you not have power when you go to start. There's nothing worse than jumping on the pedal, the bike's not going anywhere, next thing you know you're off balance and you're taking a slow fall on the bike. So you can avoid that just making sure you're in a low gear, and that way if you don't have power for some reason or you forget to turn on the bike, you're not going to fall over because the bike doesn't move. Okay, so here we're going to go. Make sure I'm in a good gear. I'm going to down to fourth, feels good. And let me get in camera. So here I am in camera. So we're going to start nice and wide turns, and watch where my head goes when you're on the camera there. I'm going to drag the brake a little bit because this parking lot's on an incline, and right now I'm going downhill. So nice wide, we got plenty of room on this when you're skipping stalls like this. But what I'm doing is I'm making little X's. So really nice, easy turns. I'm not looking at the cones. They're just kind of my guideline. I got a little bit of coffee jitters right now. So I'm taking these nice and wide. So making kind of an X pattern in the cones. I'll go up here and I'll do it the other way coming back. You guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Hopefully I don't get into editing and I'm not seeing what the camera's picking up. All right, so here we go again. These are nice wide turns. I'm doing 5 miles an hour. And again, watch my head and shoulders. I'm keeping everything square, looking where I want to go, going where I want to look. How many times have I said that? In my past videos, that's like the biggest thing I'll say over and over again, is you go where you look where you go. And having that in mind, I watch these, some of the crash videos. I don't know if you guys have scanned through and seen either bicycle crash videos or motorcycle crash videos, and you'll see the eyes come off the road and you see target fixation, which is not good, and people will like look off the side of the road, and then next thing you know they're going off the side of the road. Those are good examples. If you guys are interested in seeing me do some reaction videos, I'll be glad to do those too. I can put some of these bicycle crash videos together and just do some reactions as to what I might think was going on when this person went down. It's pretty easy to see. A lot of them, they come up, something happens in front of them, and in some cases there's nothing that could be done. I mean, unless they were psychic, sometimes things just happen, but other times it was totally avoidable. Either they're riding too aggressive and something happens and they weren't paying attention, or they lose focus on what they were doing, or just doing silly stuff. So anyway, we went through all these turns. Hopefully after going through this a couple of times, you guys can get a feel for what I'm doing, and then you can copy this at home. So again, it's just nice and easy wide turns. Again, I'm holding right at 5 miles an hour. You can see me covering my brakes. I'm very stable. The handlebars aren't wiggling back and forth. The bike's very stable. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Okay? So next I'm gonna go ahead and move these cones. It's over 90 degrees and it's October. What's going on? So I'm gonna move these cones back, tighten up the pattern, and then we're going to do this again on with the tighter cone pattern. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, we're back, and I've narrowed up the cone pattern. Basically, this is going to be the same thing. We're just narrowing it up, so your turns are going to be a little bit tighter, but the technique is the same. Speed is going to be the same. We're just going to tighten it up a little bit. Kickstand up, power is on, pedal in the right position, 4th gear. We are about ready to go. How's it going? Okay, so once again, we're entering the pattern, starting at these outside cones here, and looking back. We're just doing the same pattern, only this is going to be a little bit tighter. I'm going to keep pedaling through. I can continue pedaling because of the fact that these turns are mostly upright because we're at low speed, so I'm not putting a lot of lean into these turns. If you're going to be turning and you have a significant lean, then you're probably not going to be pedaling because you want to avoid that inside pedal scraping the ground and kicking your rear tire out from under you. That's not good. Plus it does some damage. So you don't want that to happen. But this is a relatively low speed that we're doing. My pedal assist level right now is 1. It's basically little to no pedal assist, so I'm not feeling any surging. Pay attention to what pedal assist you have set up and how your bike is. Some bikes at pedal assist level 1, they have a pretty significant surge, even in the first level. So pay attention to that, because it can catch you off guard when that surge happens and you're in a turn. Okay, it can make you really unstable. So I'm covering the brakes just to maintain speed. So when I'm going towards the camera, I'm going uphill a little bit. When I'm going away from the camera here right now, I'm going downhill. So we're just going to go through this one more time. I'm getting hot because it's 90 degrees and I'm on pavement. But I just wanted to get through this. Like I said, this is the second time I've done this, because the last time I did it, I had my camera on time lapse. And when I got into editing, I got through the phone footage, which was fine, but you can't hear me talking because my mic is on the GoPro. So here we are doing this again, and hopefully I didn't make the same mistake. I'm pretty sure everything is good. So once again, I'm starting from this outside, going to this inside, and then we're going to make a little X and go towards this outside cone. I'm looking at this. We're going to go here, and then we're just making little X's inside these parking spots. Now notice when I'm going slow, and I'm noticing it myself, not to mention I've got some caffeine jitter going. If I go slower, you'll start seeing the handlebars wiggle as I try to keep the bike stable. 3 miles an hour is what I'm showing right now. Now let me kick it up and get into that 5 mile an hour range, which is where I am right now. So we're doing about 5. I'll try to keep it here. Drag that rear brake. Don't use your front brake when you're doing these tight turns. If you do use your front brake, it's going to throw you out of whack and you could tip over. It doesn't take much, just a little bit of front brake. So we talked about emergency braking in my other videos, and the same thing applies. To maintain your speed, just drag the rear brake. Doing front brake while doing these tight turns, it's going to destabilize everything and you can end up tipping yourself over. I'm covering the front brake, but really I'm dragging that rear brake to maintain speed. My pedal speed is staying consistent. And just watch the handlebars as I'm doing this. You'll see if I drop below, say 5 miles an hour seems to be the sweet spot. If I drop below that, I start wiggling the handlebars, trying to stabilize the bike. Now let me drop down one more gear where I'm pedaling a little faster. And just this faster pedaling actually also helps to stabilize the bike. Okay, I think you guys get the gist of this, right? What do you think? Put your comments in the comments below and let me know what you guys think of these. And if you have ideas, throw them at me. I get some great comments. I've had a lot of new subscribers. I appreciate that. And while we're on that, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, go back and watch the other ones if you haven't already, and tell me what you think. All right, so I got these cones set up, nice straight little pattern. Now what I'll be paying attention to is keeping the upper body and my head square as I go through these cones. So I'm looking straight ahead, going through the cones. Upper body's nice and square, shoulders are square. Went a little long on that one, but okay. So on the GoPro, you'll see the wobbling because of the speed that I'm at. So it's a little more difficult the slower you go, but if you do speed up a little, it becomes very stable. And the more you do this, the better you'll be, and the more stable you'll be, and the more comfortable you'll be turning at a little bit more stable speeds. So once again, we're going to go through. I'm looking straight ahead, keeping the shoulders nice and square. Hit that one. I'm looking at the camera. There we go. I'm going to go back again. Hopefully the camera is still recording. Square shoulders, square head, little bend in the elbows. Continuing to pedal, keep that stable. And I'm going to do this pass one more time. Again, this is something you guys can do in front of your house. And if you can't tell, I am dragging that rear brake just to stabilize my speed. And that's it. That is it. All right, thanks again, you guys, for tuning in and watching this video. If you like the content that I'm doing, please hit a like. If you dislike it, that's fine. If you're going to dislike it, let me know why. Then I can maybe improve on later videos. Hit subscribe. Thank you guys. For those of you that have been subscribing between this last video and the one I'm putting together right now again, thank you. Thank you for all the new subscriptions. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your guys' comments. Thanks again. This is Sean with e-bike training tips and reviews. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next time.